CHGO White Sox post-game show, coming to you live from Studio B of our CHGO offices here in the West Loop of Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Anderson. You can follow us on X at Sean_W_Anderson, the show on Twitter at CHGO_White Sox. That's Herb Lawrence.
Hello.
You can follow Herb Lawrence on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. Don't call him Herb. It's not his name. He's our CHGO White Sox community leader. We're coming to you live after a White Sox loss, 7-1. How you feeling?
Good. I predicted 7-2, and I said Judge and Stanton would hit home runs. It's 7-1, and Judge hit a home run, so I was close.
There you go. Steven was very happy about the Judge homer.
And I came one double short from Andrew Vaughn from winning a bunch of money, but Andrew Vaughn disappointed me. Benintendi hit his double. Luis Robert hit his home run. Andrew Vaughn owes me $100. You
do hate to see it, and he does owe you $100, and we'll have Vinnie.
And then I'll pass it on to you because Benintendi didn't hit the home runs.
Well, that's not surprising. Again, he has not hit a homer in a White Sox uniform at Guaranteed Rate Field, one of the most friendly left-handed hitter parks in all of baseball. Who cares? Doesn't matter. As Fred says, the slide to 100 losses continues. The White Sox fall to, I started saying the record, and I didn't have it in front of me, and now I'm tap dancing because now I know that they're 46-69. Nice. Ooh, that's not nice.
That is not nice.
You know,
that's
Sean,
really
you and I joked before the show about the Sox having a comeback and winning. I actually did that on the graphics. Yeah, it said Sox win 7-1 on there.
The one that you just had?
Yeah.
Flash it.
Oh.
Come on.
Oh.
Let's embarrass you. Oh, hey, it's a winner. 4 straight.
We're going to fix it.
Let's go. All right, Steven's going to fix it.
I bet you somebody's like, just watched the first minute of the show. It's like, oh, Sox won. I'm good.
I do agree with Fred in the comments here. He said if Vinny's not wearing one of those Yacht Rock hats, we're rioting.
Well, Vinny doesn't like Yacht Rock. That's the thing. The hat is pimp. I think
sick.
he would love the hat,
with
hate
the mustache?
music. I think Vinny needs to ride like the wind.
Oh, jeez. Is this the whole bit?
I'm about to do it all night long.
Is that number one?
I'm about to find all of them.
Steven, if you notice any Yacht Rock
I'm not going to notice any of those.
Please hit the ding. Well, I just pointed one out, so I'll help you out there. Give him a little ding because he got a one Yacht Rock reference.
I don't know if we have the ding in here.
I'm
a Mario coin.
There you go. Hey.
Like that?
The Guardians just scored a run.
Right, that reminds me of the Guardians. Do we have anything else? I kind of hate that one, actually. Guardians won 1-0, by the way. They scored a run.
Oh, we do have the triangle.
Oh, there we go.
Yeah.
Boom.
Good.
All right. So, her one Yacht Rock reference. Congratulations. Have you had any other?
I mean, I've been thinking of one, but I'm not going to be forcing them onto the show like I did with that one. So, if it comes natural, I'll bring it on.
All right. Sounds good, Herb.
Bring it on is not one. It's a movie.
Do you have a favorite Yacht Rocker?
Of course, Michael McDonald. I mean, Doobie Brothers. He was singing backgrounds for both Steely Dan and for Christopher Cross and for Kenny Loggins. Like, who is more Yacht Rock than my man, Michael McDonald?
Yeah, I think so. Like I looked up Yacht Rock albums or Yacht Rock playlist, and they have Fleetwood Mac.
Yeah.
That's not Yacht Rock.
I mean, the Rumors was in the time of Yacht Rock.
Steely Dan is not Yacht Rock.
Yeah.
That's jazz.
Yeah. I mean,
that's jazz rock.
If you think about Peg and
Reeling in the Years, they have Reeling in the Years in here.
Hey 19 is Yacht Rockage.
All right. Well, then
also Mike McDonald sang on that one. And yes, Vinnie Duber does like the Doobie Brothers, but when I bring up the Doobie Brothers weren't anything until my man Michael McDonald joined the band, he disagrees. You know, Blackwater and such like that. You know, boo.
The genres for Steely Dan: jazz rock, soft rock, pop rock, jazz fusion.
Okay.
No Yacht Rock.
Those songs are Yacht Rock.
I don't know.
It's not bad to be a Yacht Rock.
And that was the whole thing about the video series that you showed me, Yacht Rock, was that the Hall & Oates is not a Yacht Rock band.
No.
So
they're a Blue-Eyed Soul band.
Okay. But Brandy, You're a Fine Girl, isn't that Hall & Oates? Who is that?
Okay. Christopher Cross.
All right. Well, I don't know. That's Fred saying that. That's for Looking Glass. I don't know who Looking Glass is. Okay. It sounds familiar, though. Victor Von Doom asking if REO Speedwagon's Yacht Rock. I'd say they're more stadium rock.
Yeah.
But shout out to REO Speedwagon because their lead singer, Kevin Cronin's from Brother Ice.
Okay.
So is Michael Massey. He had his 10th homer, and he's batting third for the Royals. Anyways, this isn't a Royals podcast. Do we want to talk about this game?
Not really. I mean, was there to talk about? Touki Toussaint was all right.
Yeah,
until he wasn't.
We'll set that up. How about that?
Yeah.
What we're going to talk about, Touki Toussaint being all right, 2 straight 9K games. So watch yourself. Watch yourself there. And then we're also going to talk about the big thing that happened. The White Sox scored 1 run. And who else would score it? Luis Robert. He hit his 31st homer of the night. So we'll be talking about Luis Robert's fantastic 2023 and maybe putting it perspective of all time. This is a very old franchise. 122 seasons of glorious, historic Chicago White Sox baseball. Some of those words are doing a lot of
heavy lifting.
Maybe they're just inaccurate.
Yes.
But we'll see where Luis Robert ranks among the pantheon of great White Sox seasons. And we'll also chat with Vinnie Duber about maybe Mike Massey, who's hitting third for the Royals. Maybe he'll be hitting third for a long time if Sal Perez is a White Sox. There's rumors out there, folks, and we'll examine them with Vinnie Duber because hey, we're talking about culture. Got to get that culture right with a catcher that isn't slapping people in the tub. And Sal Perez, not going to do that. The Royals way. He's a champion through and through. We'll talk about it. Let's get to Touki Toussaint though. It was a Touki Tuesday. Love that. Kind of also sounds like 2 for Tuesday. Mm-hmm. Shout out 97 won the drive. But Touki Toussaint, 5 innings pitched, 4 earned runs, 6 hits, 5 walks, 9 Ks. Shout out Touki, 9 Ks. Hey, it's not like the White Sox were going to score 4 runs themselves. No. He could have gave up 2 runs and they would have lost.
I mean, he started off the first 2 innings with 5 strikeouts, looking strong, and then he ran into troubles, I think, in the 3rd or 4th inning where they scored most of the runs off of him right there. But for the most part, a 5-inning thing for a guy that wasn't supposed to be on this team, it picked up midseason from the Cleveland Guardians. He's been pretty good this year as far as that realm, like being a guy off the scrap heap. The one thing I don't want to happen, though, is that he gets called back next year, and they're depending on him to be one of the rotation pieces. That would be so White Sox.
But why is that a bad thing?
Because he was picked off the scrap heap.
So?
If he's picked off the scrap heap, that means that he wasn't good enough to make it to the Cleveland Guardians. That means that we're in a championship contention window, which Rick is trying to continue until 2024. We have to, depending on Michael Kopech, who we already got question marks on, Jesse Schultens, who we already have question marks on, and Touki Toussaint, who we have a big question mark on, with our leader being Dylan Cease, who is not question marks, but he's had a worse year than he had last year, and then not a fit starter. And if they bring back Clevenger, another question mark. So I want some more exclamation points if we're going to do that. Some people like, okay, there we go. We got at least 3 guys that we could depend on in our starting rotation. And then if you take a roll of dice of Touki and or Jesse, then I'm fine. 3 solid starters where you can depend on them, not have to worry about them, I'm in. But now it's 4 question marks and Dylan Cease.
Mark Burley was on the scrap heap, my friend, 38th round.
Yeah, but
they turned that coal into a diamond.
Please bring him back.
I feel like Touki is interesting. He's a classic White Sox, former first-rounder. Steven Nicholas loves him, just like Brent Honeywell. Let's flash the stuff and results here for Mr. Toussaint because it's interesting. Mainly featured a curveball, 37 of those. The biggest thing, 106 pitches. Yeah. He's a guy that is an actual true starter, so I don't even mind if he's in Charlotte. If he's depth, if he's organizational depth, I wouldn't hate it.
Yeah, organizational depth is fine, but this team, that's Touki last year had a sub-4 ERA. Touki's going to be this, that, and the other.
Touki's a former first-rounder. He's got a wonderful pedigree.
I could hear it. I could hear that February press conference. Rick Hahn. February? Yes. Rick Hahn will still be here. Will still be here next year telling us that Touki Toussaint is one of the keys to the bullpen or to the starting rotation.
I wouldn't hate it.
I would hate that Rick Hahn is telling us that. Yes, I would.
That's a different story.
And him too.
32 14 fastballs for Touki, 29 sinkers, and 8 splitters. And let's talk a little bit about that splitter because it was real damn effective today.
Yeah, it was.
Let's go to the results here. 3 swings on that splitter, 3 whiffs. That's pretty good. It's a 100% whiff rate right there. So he flashed it, and he was able to get some swings and misses from the Yankees. You look at the curveball, 4 whiffs on 14 swings, 11 called strikes, 41 called strike plus whiff percentage over league average, 34% called strike whiff percentage for his four-seamer, 31% for his sinker, a total of a 36% called strike plus whiff percentage. Very good outing. I mean, again, he gave you 4 earned runs and 5 walks, so I'm not going to say it was a great outing, but I mean, this is like an all right Johnny Cueto start from last year. Like, I mean, I'm interested to see what he could do against someone that's not the Yankees. Like, what would the Guardians do against him? Like, I would like to see him against some AL Central folks. But I agree with you. Like, if Jesse Schultens and, someone else are fighting for the 5th spot in 2024, all right, hey, yeah, maybe they'll compete. I'm just pretty numb to this team, and I don't think they're going to compete. I think all that's just a line of, talk. All that is just, lip service. I mean, the White Sox, I don't think will be competitive in 2024 because of the pitching landscape. I mean, I do think that they'll end up having Toussaint and Schultens, and hey, maybe even Johnny Cueto returns and he rounds out the rotation.
I mean, these things seem like not true, and why would they do that? But it's so White Sox, 100% White Sox, and I think Touki can have something because that splitter he's working on, splitter, forkball, whatever you want to call it, it's got movement. It's got late break where it just dives down to the bottom of the zone, and that's why you got the 3 swings and misses off of it. So if he can develop that a little bit more consistent pitch and throw it a little bit more as a strikeout pitch or a pitch to set up his curveball, I think he has something, but that will take some time. And if these last month and a half is a time he needs to develop some pitches and pitch all the rest of the years, I'm fine with Touki starting this year. But as far as next year moving forward, I just need some new blood where if you say you're competing, you can't go into the year with people of Touki Toussaint's ilk. And Jason Benetti today said that Touki Toussaint's name, his first name, Touki, comes from his dad's last name, Toussaint, the first 3 letters, and then K.I. is mom's first 2 letters of her last name. So, Touki.
Boom. There you go. And I think he's got, like a couple middle names, right?
Oh.
I think he's got, like, a pretty long name Danny, Gilbert, Kitty, Touki Toussaint. So he's got 4 names. Or 4, yeah, if you're going to, we used to say Alan Lorenz Pollock.
Yes.
You'd have to say Danny, Gilbert, Kitty,
Touki Toussaint.
Touki Toussaint.
Too much.
The splitter, though, has been a pitch that has been pretty mid throughout his career, but it's had some pretty good runs. 2018 had a run value of 2. In 2019 had a run value of 3. 2020 had a run value of 2. In 2021 had a run value of 0. And then in 2022 had a run value of 0. Right now it's a -1, but again, today it was really effective. So maybe they're able to figure that out. But I mean, that's one pitch that we really don't see a ton from White Sox pitchers is a split finger. So I don't really know if there's someone to help him kind of hone that pitch in. The changeup was really Lucas's pitch, and he's kind of left since. Kopech has been trying to work on one, but it really has been kind of unsuccessful. Same with Cease. I really feel like that changeup really isn't the White Sox bread and butter.
No, theoretically, he can go to a former White Sox in Jose Contreras, who used to throw a forkball split finger, and have him develop it. Because Jose, it looked like the little part in your hand, like
the webbing.
The webbing, like he looked like he didn't have that, or it was very flexible, because he used to have a full ball in between his index finger and his middle finger, and throwing that forkball / splitter filthy. In that year of 2000, end of 2005 into 2006, untouchable. The man was just great. So he's still, I think, somewhere on the White Sox payroll as an ambassador somewhere. So I think he can help Touki develop a better splitter / forkball.
Yeah, well, and he was, there was the report from, I think, The Athletic that he was working with Jorge Vera down in Cuba, I think. But he is with the White Sox organization. I feel like there is a title for him. I'll try to find that. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I think he's some type of ambassador for the White Sox. So yeah, I mean, hey, go knock on his office. Be like, hey, Jose Contreras. You teach me how to use a splitter?
I mean,
I thought the whole thing was that he held like a 16-inch softball in between his fingers.
Yeah, you do that in between starts to loosen that up. And so now, like a guy who didn't have success in New York and then came to Chicago, had wild success, led us to the World Series victory, and then had a great 2006 to start off that season, could help a guy like Touki Toussaint, who has been a journeyman pitcher, hasn't found his way. And if he develops that, then you're talking. But also, I would still be skeptical going into next year with him as a guy that we're going to depend on. So I just want this team to look forward to actually competing and say, okay, if we are competing to 2024, what does that look like? Do we have to get better pitchers? And do we have the available money to get these better pitchers? Because as far as free agency, it is tough. It is real rough, especially catcher. And if you want a starting pitcher, you got to go to the top of the market.
Yeah, which is
really high at the top of the market. And we know the White Sox are not going to be fishing there. So going to that middle market really isn't the thing because you're not getting certainty there either. So you might as well go with Toussaint and Schultz. So now the White Sox are like, hey, Herb, you convinced me. Thank you. Toussaint and Schultz for 2024.
You're
Vice President and President.
Coming around to it. I love to hear it. Minor league operations. Assistant General Manager / Player Development, Chris Getz. Director of Minor League Administration, Kathy Petoskey. And Assistant Director of Player Development, Ken Williams Jr. And Special Assistant to Baseball Operations, Jose Contreras. I just like that Ken Williams Jr. is ranked above Jose Contreras. I think that's how it works. I think that is the order of operations there.
Well,
that Ken Williams Jr. can fire Jose Contreras.
If I get my chance, I'm going to hire my son as the general manager. Stay out of White Sox business.
Is that the one that dropped the punt or no?
Arizona State? Oh, no. It was an NFL player?
Yeah, San Francisco.
I
don't think so.
No, it was the other one.
Oh, okay.
His other son. Kyle Williams, I believe.
So, real quick before we get and take a break and talk about some of our sponsors here, Ron is kind of going off in the comments here. Can you scroll up just a little bit? He basically was, talking about what you were saying pregame. I'm okay with not seeing Sheets anymore.
Thank you, Ron.
I'm okay with not seeing Sheets anymore. I'm okay with not seeing Grandal anymore. I'm okay with not seeing Andrus anymore. I'm okay with a lot of these guys just being gone. I mean, if I didn't hear a press release that Sebi Zavala was on the IL and they just never saw him again, oh well. Hope he's all right. If I never saw Brian Shaw again, oh well. Oops. Guess that one slipped through the cracks.
I mean, you're going to see him again.
Sorry.
Maybe not a White Sox, but you'll see him picked
Brian
up by
Shaw?
somebody, and he'll pitch every day for like the Royals or the Twins or the Tigers. He'll be on somebody's team, or the Guardians will pick him up again for the 18th time.
Brian Shaw will definitely be a Royal or Guardian again. Absolutely. Yeah. No, you're right about that. That's a good call. But, I mean, Dave's saying he's okay with Sheets as a first baseman or a DH, but no, he doesn't hit.
Doesn't do anything.
Just kind of just sucks.
I mean, he's a 4A player, and I'm glad that the guy is getting full major league money. He's accruing in years, and he eventually will be a MLB vet where he'll make some money somewhere else. But we know what he is. He's not a power hitter. He runs into one every once in a while. He's not really a good fielder. Today we saw a ball hit by, I think, Harrison Bader with a runner on second. The runner was pretty much going to score, but if you're in right field, you got to throw a line shot there so your guy can cut off the throw. He threw a lollipop throw to home, and of course Harrison Bader easily took second. And those are the type of things, if you're going to be playing right field, you got to play it fundamentally because you're going to be sucky on the other things, like on the reads and catching the ball in the gap and things like that. So you got to make up all the mistakes you make by doing all the things right fundamentally. And so I'm good with Gavin Sheets being a depth piece in AAA, being a guy strictly off the bench, never starting, maybe runs into one off the bench. Other than that, seeing him play, to me, is confusing unless Oscar Colas is hurt.
Which we don't.
We should be playing Oscar Colas every day.
Whoa.
There's no reason Oscar Colas shouldn't be playing right field every day.
Vinnie Duber talked to the guy who probably made that decision not to start Gavin Sheets. So why don't we take a break and then we'll welcome him in. And we'll talk a little bit about why Oscar Colas didn't play and why Gavin Sheets did. Or maybe Pedro Grifol didn't even answer it. Maybe he wasn't asked. I don't know. We'll have to ask Vinnie Duber.
I mean, it's a 7-1 game in August 8th, and the White Sox are way out of it. I would.
Pedro, how you feeling?
I would be definitely surprised if anybody asked that question.
We got to flush it.
Because that's a me question. That's the only one who wants to know about that is me.
Well, we'll see. Nice little tease there. Her way to keep people around for the Gavin Sheets build up.
Like, oh God, I can't wait till this commercial's over.
We do have the Crosstown Classic coming up on August 16th at Wrigley Field, and our friends over at Hooters presented the Crosstown Classic coverage last time, and they're continuing their coverage, and we're very excited to let you know about Hooters. At Hooters, it's always easy to pick a winner. Step up to the plate for their world-famous wings, delicious seafood, stacked sandwiches, salads, and more. Their drinks are winners. They got tons of great beer specials and $6 drinks all day, every day. It's your spot to catch all the games this season. You can check out their seafood specials, too. You can get $19.83 cents for a pound of crab legs, and great prices on buffalo and steamed shrimp. Hooters is celebrating 40 years in business all year long. In honor of the anniversary, on the 4th of every month, Hooters will be hosting a throwback event, bringing the 80s back with 83-cent wings and other great specials. Next one is on September 4th. They got 11 Chicagoland locations. Visit originalhooters.com for more info. Also want to let you know about our friends over at Factor Meal Kits. If you're looking to stay active and involved in the community and hang out, and enjoy that summer weather before it gets all cold in Chicago, you might be looking for wholesome, convenient meals to support sunny, active days. Factor's America's #1 ready-to-eat meal kit, and they can help you fuel up fast with flavorful, nutritious, ready-to-eat meals delivered straight to your door. Herb, you know what my least favorite question is?
What is it?
When I'm putting together the grocery list, my partner's like, what do you want for breakfast? What do you want for lunch? What do you want for dinner? I don't know. And you know what Factor does?
Takes all the guesswork out of there.
Takes all the guesswork out of there, and they make it easy. If you're too busy with summer plans to cook, but want to make sure you're eating well, with Factor, you can skip the extra trip to the grocery store and the chopping, prepping, and cleaning up too, while still getting the flavor and nutritional quality you need. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes, so all you have to do is heat up and enjoy, and then get back outside to soak up the warm weather, and they got a ton of options for you as well. They have keto to calorie smart, vegan plus veggie, and protein plus, so you can make sure that you are getting what you like to eat. So head to factormeals.com/CHGOSOX50 and use code CHGOSOX50 to get 50% off. That's code CHGOSOX50 at factormeals.com/CHGOSOX50 to get 50% off for your Factor meal kit. Shout out to Factor. Let's go out to Guaranteed Rate Field to Vinnie Duber. Hi, Vinnie. You can follow Vinnie on Twitter at Vinnie Duber. He's our CHGO White Sox beat writer. He's got a brand new post up at All CHGO recapping the whole Keenan Middleton stuff that was going on and all the clubhouse culture fallout that was going on. So you can catch up with that at allchgo.com. Hi, Vin.
Hi, guys. How are you?
How are you on this Touki Tuesday?
I'm doing fine. Thank you.
I'm glad to get a little chuckle out of that one. We're trying that one out. Touki Tuesday.
Doing terrific.
Terrific. That was a little bit.
That's less good.
Hated myself for that one.
Where's the Yacht Rock hat? Where is it? Come on.
Oh, it's in the backpack. It's on the other side of the press box.
Did you enjoy tonight's
I have it.
musical selections?
Yeah, it was fine. Yacht rock is a weird thing. It's a genre that has only been invented seemingly within the last few years, but all the music is from like 40, 50 years ago.
Yes.
It's a lot of it is stuff that I really like. A lot of it is stuff that I don't at all like. It's like, but it's impossible to define. They're playing like ELO out here. Like, I don't think that's yacht rock, but then, you've got all the Doobie Brothers. That's yacht rock, I guess. Like, it's very hard to pin down. So I'm not going to say that I am the world's #1 yacht rock fan, but I was happy with plenty of the songs that were played tonight. We got an extended version of the Lido Shuffle by Maz Skaggs, which of course was the song that they would play a little bit of every time that Lucas Giolito got a strikeout. And it's I was wondering if there was going to be like a tribute video or something, because we got to hear the Lido Shuffle.
And hey, Lucas is pitching right now too, so it's very fitting that they're playing the Lido Shuffle somewhere, and somewhere Lucas Giolito was in a stadium. Maybe they're also playing at the same time. Steely Dan, Yacht Rock or no?
I mean, I guess that's the thing. It's so I don't. Yacht Rock is a weird one for me because I don't know what to say about it because I cannot define it. It's just very bizarre. It seems like it's just like, oh, music that's kind of soft that old people might like. It's not helpful.
The song I think is quintessential, like "Baby Come Back" from Player.
That was played
tonight. Beautiful. That area, like if it's mellow, smooth. Kind of like
I feel like the Pina Colada song is probably Yacht Rock.
God,
right?
I hate that song too. Yeah,
and that's a bad song.
It's a terrible song.
It's all very weird. I feel like Michael McDonald Doobie Brothers is Yacht Rock, but maybe pre-Michael McDonald Doobie Brothers. So in other words, the good Doobie Brothers is probably not Yacht Rock.
See, I told you. Somebody asked is Duber a Doobie? I was like, no, he likes the pre-McDonald Doobie Brothers. And I was like, I'm the opposite. I like the Michael McDonald, where he made Doobie Brothers actually great.
Oh boy.
Oh, Jesus.
What a fool believes. Yeah, great song.
Yeah, Joe R's throwing Jerry Rafferty in there. Any down the line or anything like that today?
Did
you not keep a log of all those songs?
I did not. I was not keeping a log. No.
You're supposed to report, Vinny.
Just before we go to more White Sox stuff, Lucas Giolito did pitch today. 6 innings, 3 earned, 7 strikeouts. He's out of the game with the lead. They're leading 5-3 over the San Francisco Giants in the 7th.
About his best outings yet for the Angels. So good to see. I don't think I vibe with Yacht Rock because again, I don't own a yacht. Do you own a yacht?
Not yet,
Vinny. Yacht owner?
Absolutely not. Never will. Even if I have enough money to, not going to do it.
Maybe I'll buy a dinghy, but I'm not buying a yacht. I'm not getting all messed up in this football field lengths of boat. That just seems like an issue, an insurance issue that I headache. Anyways, Vinny, let's jump into the fun stuff. Luis Robert hit his 31st home run of the season, and now it just seems like how many can he hit? I think the franchise record for a season is 48 by Albert Bell in either 98 or 97. That seems like a little bit too out of reach, but do we want to put a cap on him? I mean, can Luis Robert hit 17 more homers in August and September? Vinny, why don't you start off?
Well, 17 is a lot. So I don't know if that's realistic, but we did talk to him after the game today, and he's one of those guys who, and this is no surprise given the Jose Abreu tutelage, who has always kind of said, yeah, okay, fine, numbers, yeah, I'm putting up good numbers, whatever. I care about the team winning, that kind of thing. But he said, that the numbers are not meaningless to him, that he's happy that he's putting them up. He was asked about becoming just the second White Sox ever to do 30 homers, 30 doubles, and 20 steals, because he's just a handful of steals away from that. And he said, "Yeah, that'd be nice, but I'd like 30 steals." I don't think he's going to get there if we're talking about realistic numbers there as well. But this is a guy who is aware of the numbers that he's putting up, and I think more so though it's the way he's playing, the way that he is staying healthy. That's his number one. That was his number one goal for the year, and he has done it. He says he wants to play over 150 games. He's just, he's finally healthy. Full year of being healthy, feeling good, and playing good. It certainly seems like this is the Luis Robert Jr. that we were always waiting to see. And it should be no surprise that when his body allows him to do it, he's doing it. So this is a guy who is having a very, very good season. He's going to finish quite highly in the American League MVP vote, I would imagine, toward the end of the season. We'll see how high he can go in some of those stat categories.
And we saw Yasmani Grandal leave the game today. Is there any update on what his status is?
Day to day, according to Pedro, he just had his leg started tightening him up, or his one leg, I guess, started tightening him up, stiffening up on him, and they didn't want to play him anymore and risk him getting injured any further. So we'll see what happens tomorrow and in the days after that.
Yeah, I mean, was there any talk, before we get back to Luis Robert, was there any talk about the lineup? Because we kind of talked about Elvis Andrus possibly getting DFA'd after the trade deadline, because what's the point of playing, that old of a player when, you're looking forward to 2024? Same with Grandal. We know Zavala's now on the IL. And then Gavin Sheets, too. Why not Colas getting playing time? Was there any talk from Pedro either pre or post game about the decision to play Andrus and Sheets in this game?
No, not specifically. I mean, they're the players he picked. He's usually a guy that likes matchups. To answer some of that stuff, I mean, the point that you asked me about last night with Benintendi, I asked him about today, and he said that he tried him out in that 5 spot, and after a few days, he was like, yeah, no, this is not the way to go. He prefers having Andrew play in that number 2 hole where he thinks he's best suited. So it was only 3 days. We thought we were going to see that kind of solid 1 through 5 for a while for the White Sox, but it ended up only being 3 days. In terms of Colas and Sheets, Herb, I heard the end of your conversation here before I got on there, and I totally get the idea of hey, try to develop this guy, right? He's a guy that's going to be part of your future. He's a guy that was supposed to be part of your present. You made him the opening day right fielder, as far back as last November, he was being talked about as being the new everyday right fielder. But I don't know, Herb, if you've looked at the numbers that Oscar Colas has put up since he came back from the minor leagues, they are awful. They are just as bad as they were in that first month when he struggled mightily here up at the major league level. He went down to the minors, had some great success in terms of the numbers he was putting up down at AAA. And since he's come back, it has been more of what the White Sox saw from him in April, not to mention repeated mistakes in right field in which Pedro Grifol has basically called him out for it to us. I mean, we've heard that that's not something that Pedro likes to do, to bring up things that he doesn't like about what his players are doing to reporters, to the media. He has repeatedly brought up how there is a lack of focus that he is seeing from Oscar Colas. So people who want to see the young guys get the run have to, and people who have been complaining all year about a lack of accountability have to, they have to live by both those. They have to live by what they've said before. This would seem to be some accountability. Hey, you're not doing anything to help us win, and in fact, you're doing stuff to help us lose. Now, Pedro didn't say any of that. You know what I mean? That's me connecting dots. Pedro did not say any of hey, we've benched Oscar Colas or anything like that. He just hasn't played the last couple of days. And that could be described as a matchups thing, right? I mean, maybe Pedro is seeing matchups and that's what he wants. But we have watched Oscar Colas play, and we have watched him fail pretty dramatically over the last, month and a half. And then we have seen Pedro talk about what he has not liked about what Oscar Colas has shown. And that's not just in terms of, he's something that he's doing at the plate or something like that. It's, hey, he's not focusing out there and he's not giving us the mindset that we need him to give us. So if the idea is it's all a learning experience for Oscar Colas, well, you got to learn to focus and do some of those other stuff too. And that's what's going to keep you in a major league lineup.
Is he like the only one or one of the only ones that Pedro's calling out to you guys? Because I would see that as being not fair to the guy. Like a culture that hasn't been established on that team, and the kid's just doing him. And he sucks on the field, and he's not good, but he's young. So I don't know why Pedro's choosing to call him out on some of those plays, where there's other people that can be called out on certain things, and I don't necessarily hear him talking about those players because they're veterans. Yeah,
I mean, there's a reason that I'm, that has sprung to mind for me so quickly, because it has been interesting and seemingly significant that is the only player that he has talked about in that fashion to us. Doesn't mean that he hasn't said certain guys made a mistake or made a bad play or something like that. But to hear that repeatedly and hear it about that one attribute, right, that he's not focused, that his mind isn't in the game, that kind of thing, that certainly has been unique to Colas. But what I can say is that he, being Pedro, has added in those moments. We need him to figure this out. We need Colas to figure this out because he is so important to this team moving forward. And so to me, that this strikes as a as a method of coaching, as a method of teaching. Hey, we're going to, maybe, for lack of a better term, ride you pretty hard, right? Because we think that you have to get better and you have to understand this if you're going to help us win in the future. So we'll see. He makes a ton of bad plays in right field. You know what I mean? And if that is, or he has made, I should say, and if that is something that, you're trying to eliminate, you got to get through to a guy somehow. This might be the way to do it. But again, I'm connecting dots. I'm telling you what I think from what I've heard Pedro say and what I've seen Colas do. And listen, they've got 2 months to teach, right? They've got 2 months to coach to try and get everybody where they want them to be going into the offseason and ready for next season, because this season is gone already. And so that's why you, Herb, and plenty of others are saying play him every day, right? Well, you have to develop him. You got to get him going. And there's definitely something to that. But it's on these are the guys who have been tasked with doing that development. And if they think that this is a way to get through to him, to get to the coaching, to get their coaching done, there you go.
We'll see. We did see a little bit of coaching from Pedro back in, late April with this Luis Robert stuff where, there was the quote unquote benching, for the lack of a better term. And since then, Luis Robert has been the best player, or one of the best players in Major League Baseball. Since May 2nd, he now has 26 home runs, an OPS higher than 960. He is one of 5 players with a WAR higher than 4. F-WAR higher than 4 since that date. Freddie Freeman, Shohei Ohtani, Ronald Acuna Jr., Mookie Betts, and Luis Robert Jr. Shohei Ohtani's WAR does not include his pitching stats because he's stupid. And you also mentioned the Luis Robert Jr. thing where he was excited about closing in on 30, 30, and 20. And hey, maybe he could do 30, 30, and 30. The only other player that has done that in White Sox history, Maglio Ordonez, back in 2001, 31 homers, 40 doubles, and 25 stolen bases. Right now, Roberts at 14 stolen bases, needs 6 more to get there. And then finally, 40 home run seasons. 12 White Sox have hit 40 home runs in a season. You guys want to play a little game here? He's 9 away.
Well, I just did this the other day. I tweeted this out because I think it was impressive to me. Let's see if I can remember the tweet. I believe it was a 14-year span. The White Sox went all but 2 years without with guys who hit at least 38 home runs in a season. And then in the following 17, there were only 3. I believe that's correct. I believe that's what I tweeted out. Sean, I see you're looking it up. But it was just me doing some random baseball reference digging, probably based on some sort of immaculate grid question, and that's what I saw, and I thought was pretty interesting. Not only speaking to the fact that they had guys who were belting them like crazy there for so long, but that over the last decade and a half, we'll call it, things have kind of fallen off in that department.
Okay, now I got to find this.
All right. I definitely know Todd Frazier.
Yeah, Todd Frazier, 2016.
The first one off the board.
Jermaine Dye.
Yes, 2006. Random. This is Vinny's tweet. Random baseball reference exploring the morning yields that in the 14-year span, Sox only went 3 seasons without someone hitting at least 38 home runs. From 93 to 2006, right? And then from 07 to 2023 or to 2022, there was only 3.
Yep.
Okay, so there's the tweet there. But so JD was one of them.
Yeah. Albert Bell, of course,
yes,
the lead.
49 in 98.
I'm gonna guess Ron Kittle.
No,
he only had 35.
All of them are post 90.
Okay.
These are 40 homer seasons, Sean?
Yes.
Okay.
Oeo Maglio?
Yes. No.
Yes?
Mags was 38 in 2002.
Carlos Lee?
No.
Jesus, none
Herb,
of
how about Frank Thomas?
I already picked. The first guy I said is Frank Thomas.
Okay, Frank Thomas had 5 of them. So, yeah, or 6 of them.
You didn't say Frank Thomas.
Right when he answered. No, right when he first did this, and before you answered, I said Frank Thomas because I just said let's get off the board.
Yeah, Paul Konerko. There you go. Konerko, Albert Bell, Jermaine Dye. 1, 2, 1 is left.
We've got 4 left, I thought. You said 9, right? Or is it 9 times?
I'm going to go with Joe and say Adam Dunn hit it one time.
Adam Dunn did 41 in 2012. I think there's one more that we haven't
said. Did we not say Jim Thome?
Jim Thome for 42 in 2006. So I think we got Bell, JD. That was, you said JD.
Yep.
Frank 6 times. Paulie, Todd, Adam. Yeah, that's all of them. So at least Robert Jr. trying to what's the face for?
I'm struggling to figure out how the math works. I thought you said it was done 9 guys, and I think that was 6 or 7 that you read.
Okay. Frank Thomas in 1995. Frank Thomas in 1996.
That's why. You're counting Frank Thomas multiple times. I got you.
Frank Thomas in 1993.
Yes.
Frank Thomas in 2003. Okay. Frank Thomas in 2000.
Okay.
So he had 6 of the 12. Or he had 5 of the 12. 5 of the 12. So, and then Konerko twice, Todd Frazier, Adam Dunn, Jim Thome, Jermaine Dye, Albert Bell. And then, hey, Luis Robert Jr. in 2023.
Only 9
I think
more.
He gets there.
Only 9 more. It seems, I think he can get there. I
probably
think
do it in August.
I think he's on the pace for that. And the teams in September are not that great, so he can feast on some bums.
You gave me a face right there. I mean, he could hit 9 more homers in
he can
20 more games.
It's hard though.
Well,
it is hard, but he's very good at baseball.
I'm just saying, look at the pace. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Hey, he's probably going to get to 40 before the season's over, and that will be a remarkable achievement.
And the thing is, he's not a home run hitter necessarily. He's just a powerful guy, and he doesn't swing that hard. He just he has a smooth swing, and the ball just carries off his bat. So he's kind of in that essence like Frank Thomas, who wasn't a power hitter. He was just a good hitter that happened to be strong.
Yeah, just happened to be 6'5" and 300 pounds.
Exactly.
It just was a massive anchor right there. All right, let's take a quick break, and then we'll talk a little bit more about this. Maybe 2024 roster and what it may look like. Want to let you know though about Goose Island Beer Company. Herb, what you drinking?
A 312 from our folks at Goose Island.
There you go. CHGO, supported by Goose Island Beer Company. It's been Chicago's beer since 1988. Their beer roster includes the Goose Island IPA, the Tropical Beer Hug, and the Beer Hug IPA series, the 312 Wheat Ale, which Herb is drinking, and the Full Pocket Pills. And we got the Crosstown Classic that we brought up coming up on August 16th. You can grab an ultra-fresh brewery-exclusive beer at Goose Island's original brew house on Clybourne Avenue in Lincoln Park, or from their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer, and they'll be presenting the Crosstown event that we'll have on August 16th. So we're very excited to be hanging out with Goose Island Beer Company on the 6th. And make sure you could head over to allchgo.com and buy some tickets to hang out with us there as well.
And get the Goose Island Summertime Shandy variety pack, too. Delicious.
Oh, we got the
lemon.
The lemon.
I think grapefruit.
A tangerine one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I shouldn't get into
cranberry.
Cranberry.
Oh no, strawberry lemonade.
Cranberry
Delicious.
One.
I'm looking at the rest
stuff
of them.
up.
And the other one is grapefruit.
Okay. Well, then you could try a shandy as well. Shout out to Goose Island. Also want to let you know about our friends over at Shady Rays. Take on the sun with gear belts to last. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers a world-class product that's just as good as any expensive pair we've worn. They have durable frames and extremely clear optics for outdoor adventures. And that's not all. Shady Rays offers the most insane protection program in all of eyewear. Every pair of sunglasses is backed by lost and broken replacements. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they'll send you a brand new pair. No questions asked. You can wear Shady Rays with confidence because they have your back long after your purchase. If you don't love your Shady Rays, you can exchange them for a new pair or return them for free within 30 days. There's no risk when you shop. Their team always has your back. Exclusively for our listeners, Shady Rays is giving out their best deal of the season. Go to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized shades. Try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Again, go to shadyrays.com and use code CHGO for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized shades. And if you aren't a diehard yet, what are you waiting for? If you are new here, we are CHGO. We got live podcasts for you each and every single day. We got Vinnie Duber, who's our beat writer, posting articles to allchgo.com. We have you covered, our diehards. And if you are a diehard White Sox fan, if you're a diehard Bears fan, if you're a diehard Blackhawks fan, if you're a diehard Chicago fan, we will have coverage for you for every single team 5 days a week. And we got some fun events like the Crosstown event coming up on the 16th and the CHGO Kickoff Classic at Cog Hill. August 25th at 9 a.m. Your ticket includes 18 holes with a cart, an exclusive Pins and Aces and CHGO golf towel for all players, hole contest, giveaways and prizes, and lunch, drinks, and a ceremony after the round. And there is a diehard discount as well. So if you are a diehard or if you want to sign up, go to allchgo.com. You get a free shirt when you become a member, and you get access to our members-only Discord. We call that the CHGO Lounge. And again, you get 20% off events like the Kickoff Classic or the Crosstown event that is coming up. So make sure that you are supporting CHGO if you love what we got going on. And Joe said he loves the Shader Ace, so shout out to Joe. Make sure you're hitting the thumbs up button. I feel like I manifested the 24th like there by saying that. So shout out to whoever just liked the home run. Let's go to the kind of craziness that we didn't get to with the trade deadline. We heard a little bit about this coming out in December from Ken Rosenthal. Salvador Perez is close with White Sox manager Pedro Grifol, his former catching instructor and bench coach with the Royals. So close, it stands to reason that the White Sox might at least think about trading or asking for Perez in a trade. And then, weirdly enough, at the trade deadline, Joel Sherman said Royals entertained offers for Sal Perez. Not completely dead, but very unlikely he is moved. Marlins had interest, so did non-contending White Sox, owing to relationship with manager Pedro Grifol and team control through 2025 with a 2026 team option. And then Bob Nightingale also said the Chicago White Sox and Kansas City Royals were engaged in serious trade discussions for Royals all-star catcher Sal Perez on trade deadline day before the White Sox simply weren't willing to give up the prospects the Royals sought. We've heard about this from Rick Hahn before, that you're always trying to get the price of a player, and then in the offseason when maybe it comes down or maybe they've come off a little bit, that's when you strike. So we see the talk about culture here. We obviously see Pedro Grifol installed, and one of the first things that he wanted, or at least the White Sox wanted, was to bring in Andrew Benintendi, someone who Pedro Grifol was familiar with. Do we expect the White Sox to go knocking on the Royals' door again to see about Sal Perez? Because Yasmani Grandal's contract's coming up. Sebi Zavala is kind of just a quad A catcher. Same with Sal Perez, or same with Carlos Perez. Mm-hmm. There is Corey Lee and Edgar Caro in the system, but what do we make of Sal Perez, future White Sox catcher?
I mean, I think you could do worse, but also this is the White Sox thing. Like Kenny Williams, the whole thing is like he'll always get this guy. This is Rick Hahn always getting this guy. I mean, we saw in 2020 tried to do this with Lance Lynn later on that year, and the offseason he got Lance Lynn eventually after that. We know he's been chasing or wanted Andrew Benintendi for a long time, for 7 years. Finally got him in this offseason. And so, if Pedro wants to establish culture and they've already shown interest in Salvador Perez, to me it seems like fait accompli. They're going to have Salvador Perez this offseason for multiple reasons. Because Corey Lee, I don't know how ready he is, but going into next season, if you're going to be competing, it's going to be tough to have a guy you're depending on that you don't know what he's going to do. And then you look at the free agent market for catchers. No, sir. Terrible. The only thing that would be holding the White Sox back from getting Salvador Perez, besides, giving up prospects, is his $20 million price tag that goes along with him for this year and $22 million that goes along with him for the year after that. But otherwise, he's a guy that is a no-nonsense guy, usually hits for power and hits above average. This year he's below average in both power in both hitting and fielding. So I don't know if you have a market improvement at the catcher position, you'll have more home runs, but I don't know if it's going to be leading you from, the under 23 games they're at now to somewhere close to 500 or above. But hey, as I always say, it can't hurt. It might help. A veteran like that is well respected. I think he's been to 8 or 9 All-Star games. He's fine, but I would look for others to supplement the roster instead of Salvador Perez, because getting the whole Royals team over here, I'm good. They're that's the only team in the division that's worse than us, and we're just picking all the damn players and coaches.
I mean, it would seem to me, just from the sheer notion of this, it would seem to me that there are a lot of positives to bringing him over here. The relationship with the manager, a guy who he can put in that clubhouse, a guy who is a Latino, like some of the other important players on this team are, to install that sort of role model who can very clearly communicate exactly what his manager wants his teammates to do. That would seem to be a huge positive. But this is the kind of thing you describe from someone you bring in as a backup catcher on a very inexpensive deal. This is somebody that you would describe as, acquiring Elvis Andrus in the middle of last season and saying, he'll be a good influence on some of these guys because you acquired him for nothing or just a small amount of money, right? This is not something that you give up, player capital to get and then pay $40 million to over the course of 2 seasons if he's not going to be producing at an all-star level again. So if you're telling me that he's going to be an all-star catcher again, well then, yeah, that's a huge upgrade for the White Sox. But if you're saying they're going to bring him in to be a bridge guy while Lee and Caro develop in the minors, that's pretty expensive and a pretty, you would be giving up a lot to acquire that type of player. So I think there are a lot of positives to having him as part of this organization, and a lot of them are behind those clubhouse doors as opposed to out here on the field. But I mean, this is a team where we're trying to wait and see if they're going to spend big money on top name players. And while, listen, Salvi Perez has long been one of the best catchers in baseball offensively and is probably one of the 5 best players in the history of the franchise that he currently plays for. He is aging, and aging catchers, like I said, you usually bring them in as backups on cheap deals to give a division rival prospects, and then to commit that much money to him when you have a lot of other areas that you need to address with said money. It doesn't seem to line up too perfect. But I'll just say, Herb, you said this would be an example of the White Sox getting their guy again. Well, it would seem to be an example of Pedro Grifol getting his guy, right? Getting one of the players he's had the closest relationship with. And to be fair, Pedro is the guy that's tasked with turning this ship around in the right direction inside the clubhouse and on the field. So if he thinks that there's something that we're not seeing that is worth that cost, we'll see. But yeah, it would seem to me that the cost would be pretty high.
Giving up prospects, you'd likely have to take on the contract too, or a large majority of it. And you have Yasmani Grandal, who was one of the largest free agent signings before coming, or when he was signed back in 2020. Perez is going to be making more than him next year. He was signed to $482. That would be one of the largest contracts that they ever paid from a year-to-year basis. Mm-hmm. Very surprising for them to pick that up from a division rival, giving them prospects, giving them salary relief. It just seems messy. And again, he also might be bad. He's 33 and has been catching. Catchers, just like running backs, usually don't get better with age. They're the opposite of wine. So, yeah, I would say let's pass on that. If they're willing to take on, $70 million of it, then hey, maybe,
and also, what I would say too is, what real incentive do the Royals have to get rid of him? I mean, this is a franchise icon. This is the White Sox trading away Paul Konerko just for the hell of it, kind of thing. It doesn't seem to me like there might be really anything going on either side.
I get that too, but I mean, hey, you're going to give us prospects and you're going to take away all this money for a 33-year-old catcher? I feel like they'd be like, sign me up. I get your point because, he's an easy all-star representative if there's not a clear winner, just because he's got the cachet, but I don't know.
The only way or reason I'm saying maybe is because the White Sox don't have a clear-cut catcher for next year. And so I would say the move I would do if I was Rick Hahn, Kenny Williams, would go up to Toronto and ask them for one of their their catchers, because Jansen and Kirk are still splitting time. I know Kirk is not as good as he was last year, but he's still a good catcher.
Better than Sal Perez.
Exactly. And so, you would have to give up a prospect, a pretty good prospect, to get either one of those guys off of that roster. That's the move I would go for. Not necessarily the Blue Jays, but there's some other team with a young catcher that's not playing because the veteran catcher's doing well and gets paid a little bit more. So that's the type of move that I would see the White Sox doing instead of going getting Salvador Perez and paying all that money for a product that you don't know you're going to get.
Well, and if you want a leader, I mean, Yan Gomes is a lot cheaper. I mean, hey, he might give you the same production. I mean, Yan Gomes is I think a similar.
He's like 37.
Yeah, I know, but hey, he's not in a good spot. He's got a higher OPS than Salvi Perez. Let's go. It's 96. 6 points better.
I mean, whatever.
World Series 2024. We'll obviously have a lot more time to talk about this. I did see Pedro Grifol called this a very important 2 months for setting the culture and kind of setting what this team is looking forward to in 2024. So we'll see. Maybe it's Salvador Perez. Maybe it's Luis Robert Jr. just hitting 60 homers. I'd be interested with both. I mean, hey, we'll see what happens with the White Sox. Follow Vinnie Duber on Twitter. He'll keep you up to date with all of the news that happens with the White Sox. He will be there tomorrow at Guaranteed Rate Field covering Game 3, the final game of this Yankees series. So make sure, again, you follow him there at Vinnie Duber, and you can read his work at allchgo.com. That's Herb Lawrence. You can follow him on Twitter at Ecknerwall23. You can follow the show on Twitter at CHGO_White Sox, and you can follow me at Sean_W_Anderson. Thank you to everyone for hanging out with us, and make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Hey, maybe we'll see even our friend James McCann coming up. You never know. I mean,
bring him back, bring Lucas back.
Catcher is such a deep position. We'll see you later. Bye.